Okay, so we're all set. Going to start the build now for the Honda City Turbo. The very first thing that you do actually on the build is to attach some bits to the pre-assembled gearbox and motor, but like I said in the previous video, the pre-assembled gearbox and motor comes with plastic ball bearings, and I've bought some metal ball bearings as an upgrade. So the very first thing to do is actually to take apart the gearbox and put, I think it's about 8 of these ball bearings in, so fairly conventional. There's 4 steps in the kind of handbook for taking it apart. I don't think there's any ball bearings in part 1, so it's a case of taking the gearbox apart, exposing all the plastic ball bearings. There's 7 there and then 1 there, so I'm going to get going, take the gearbox apart, and we'll see how it looks. Okay, so gearbox is taken apart. There's the motor over there, and you can see here one of the plastic ball bearings, and then there's a few other plastic ball bearings in here. So this is the one to be replaced first, and then I have to try and start taking some of these cogs out and replacing them one by one. Okay, so there are a few of the gears and the ball bearings that have been, changed over. So now I'm just going to put it all back together. And there we go, gearbox all back together again. There are all the nasty plastic ball bearings out, and it'll be time to move on to the build. Right, so now the gearbox has been ball raced, it's time to move on to the main build. So we start basically with the rear arms, and then you're kind of adding the rear arms to the gearbox, adding the wheelie bar, and then some of the rear uprights. So they're kind of the first 4 steps. Okay, just to kind of start before we get into the build, I've just undone all the A parts that form the first kind of few steps here. And yeah, there's obviously your normal kind of standard screws, but some nice metal parts here, kind of for the drivetrain. Some metal kind of hollow collars. I don't know what these are going to be for. A couple of plastic ball bearings that will switch out for the metal ones. You get some grease, which you've already got anyway. But yeah, nice lot of metal parts. And now I'm going to crack on with that build. Okay, and that is steps 1 to 4 done. So wheelie bar's been added here. You've got the steering linkages ready for the suspension, so that's all been added to the pre-built gearbox that I obviously took apart to put the bearings in. So that was steps 1 to 4. Next up is steps 5 to 14, which uses the B bag of parts, which they all here. So I'm going to go ahead and unwrap all those, sort them all out, and we'll see what we got.